Boy, I might be the wrong person to test some of these claims. The folks at Vivo sent me over a V29 for me to take on a test drive, share some thoughts, and this one's a little tough. Now, you see, just a couple months back, I did a first look at the V27s, and I was planning on revisiting these phones, but now Vivo has just gone ahead and released a whole new phone. There are a few little differences between the V27s and my V29 review unit. Real quick, the rear casing no longer changes color under UV light. The V29 uses a Qualcomm Snapdragon 778 instead of the MediaTek Dimensity 7200. The wired charging speed increases from 66 watts to 80 watt charging, and I'm not sure a lot of people would really notice those differences. This year's V series is one of the most attractive phones of the year, reminding me a lot of the old LG Velvet or the TCL 20 Pro. It's an ultra sleek, rail thin presentation of glass and design. It's real pretty. I feel if you were to put all of these phones in someone's hand, they might assume that they just had different colors of the same phone. And this isn't unique to Vivo. I recently criticized Xiaomi for what I feel is a similar issue, where I'm getting concerned about the incredible number of phones these companies ship every year. I feel there's a similar concern at play with Vivo too. But there are a couple small camera differences that might be interesting for a handful of folks out there. Now, first, that tiny macro camera on the V27 has been removed for a different 2-megapixel sensor on the V29. Now, this is often listed as a depth sensor, but I think this also might be hardware that contributes to the low light video mode that is not on the V27. And the other small difference, there's a new separate LED flash. There are 2 light sources on the V29, and this one is kind of nifty. The traditional LED flash fires like a flash, and it can also be used as your phone's flashlight. But this new Aura light is a little mini ring light. Now, you can see a little ring on the older V27, but it's really a pair of lights in this circular housing, and you don't really have much control over what the V27 can do. The V29's Aura light can change its color temperature automatically, just sensing the light around you, or the user can control the tone, and this is a softer fill light than just throwing the 2 LED flash. This is something often lacking from our phone cameras: better control over the light and a more flattering light to shoot portraits and candids. Without extra clip-on accessories, this represents a handy little upgrade to a solid mid-ranger phone. If a primary activity is taking nice selfies or portraits, this kind of sustained light is a nice touch to help your photos pop. And I think it works. I think you get a nicer exposure. If you followed my channel for a bit, you'd know that that's not a lot of the photography I like to share. I'm a macro enthusiast. I love taking candids in social situations, but often from a distance so I don't interrupt the action. But using myself as a model, I'd agree that this new Aura light feature improves on portraits. I really like it when phones have a more specific niche. It gives us something to dig into. It gives us something to talk about. Especially in a mid-ranger, you can point to one specific aspect that people might like. Vivo already carries a strong reputation for photography across most of their brand, and especially on these photo-focused phones, the V29 delivers something unique. I usually prefer to tell a broader story about the phone, more complete discussion on performance and features, but this was one where I felt we could focus on something just a little more specific. In a small part because I just don't feel the phone has changed that much. The whole rest of the phone and computer experience, and the displays, and the battery life, and the gaming. But separate from the rest of the phone's performance, it's crazy how one little ring light can play such a big difference in a phone camera's output. This minor iteration to the phone's lighting is something I think folks will notice. Now, what do you think about these kinds of phone launch strategies? Do you want to see more feature-specific phones like this? Are you looking for more general all-rounders? Or do you think these kinds of launches confuse consumers? Drop one of them tasty hot takes down below. And maybe smash that bell icon on your way down to comment. I will, of course, leave some links down below where you can find more information on the Vivo V29 and the rest of Vivo's lineup of phones. It's a brand I've really enjoyed covering over these last couple of years. As always, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, and subscribing to the channel. All the folks supporting, you've been absolutely amazing. If you're hitting up my home site, SomeGadgetGuy.com, if you're clicking on links in descriptions, or if you're joining the list of names scrolling by on your screen from my Patreon. Patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. This list is basically the coolest collection of tech pals in the universe. So I hope you'll check them out. They're real good people. So you know where you can find me around the rest of the internet, at SomeGadgetGuy, basically everywhere. But I'm spending a bit more of my time these days on the Mastodons, a little less so on the Facebooks and the Twitters and the Instagrams. And I will catch you all on the next video.